Yes, that's the map. That's the map. Hang on, look, I'll show you again. That's the map of the Stormlands, which is where the adventure is taking place. Who needs Elden Ring and 3D with all those graphics when you can join me on an adventure with basic maps and books and me talking and doing silly voices? What more could you ask for? So this is the part 3 of the Kingdom of Terror. These are the new edition Lone Wolf books. These were the Choose Your Own Adventure books when I was a kid. I highly recommend them if you're ever going on a long journey and, you know, your computer might run out of battery, because that does happen occasionally. Why not have one of these? You don't need the die rolling app. You can point with a pencil in the back to the random number chart, which will give you a completely honest number from 1 through till 10. So you've got this random number chart. Of course, we're not going to be using that. And then you've got the combat chart at the back, which is here, which is worked out by odds. And then you have your character sheet at the front. Now, my character sheet is all written out, rather well organized, although, you know, graphically it looks shit. Obviously, if I was a bit of a whiz with Photoshop, I'd have a really cool character sheet to show everybody. But I'm crap at that kind of thing, so I don't have that. So I currently have combat skill of 30, unless I decide to add a psi surge to it, which is kind of like a psionic skill that I have. The other thing that needs to be noted is that my endurance, I need to put currently instead of normally, currently is 23 points out of a potential 26. That's kind of like your hit points. If they go to 0, I am DEAD, dead. I've got various weapons, bonuses, and things. I do have this magical sword, which is all part of the story. These are my skills. I have 13 of these skills. The ones from 11 onwards. So I might just put a little. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. Anyway, the ones from 11 onwards. These last 3 are kind of like higher ranking skills, as it were, for someone who is a bit more powerful. I also have the Silver Bow of Dudan. Don't know if you pronounce it like that, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I've got 5 arrows of a potential 6. Back at the monastery, kind of a bit like back at the Bat Cave, I have the Dagger of Vashna, which I have not brought with me. I've also got 22 crowns back home. Just add those there. And 24 on me. I can carry 8 items in my backpack. I've got 0 meals. I did have a whole load. I've got a herb pouch that enables me to carry 4 items separately. I've got these berries, which can give me a +2 in combat, but can also, you know, kind of not do me any favors. I've got a rope and a tinderbox. Then I can carry 12 special items. These are all the special items I have. I've also made the note of various places that I've visited on there. So one of the places I haven't made a note of is the last town that I was just in, which, according to the map, was Qualen. That's right, Qualen. Now, the mission, thank you for those 8 people watching. Do like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Now, guys, there's going to be a much more interesting stream tomorrow night. This stream is quite niche. It's a niche gaming stream. It's kind of like the crap version of Elden Ring, with me talking a lot and working my way through a book. But if you want to see a more interesting stream tomorrow night, I have got Debbie Evans, stunt woman extraordinaire, coming on this channel for an interview. 400 films on IMDb. That is a CV that's as tall as me if you put it end to end, and I'm reasonably tall. So 5'11" and a half. I was 6 foot before I got married. That's what getting married does to you. I'm divorced now, so maybe I'll get it back. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know where that came from. So I'm going to continue doing my quest of the Kingdoms of Terror, part 3. Now, my mission is to find this lore stone. I'm currently yomping my way around the Stormlands, and the Stormlands, as I mentioned earlier, are kind of in a state of civil war. They're not a great place to hang out on your day off. At the minute, I am trying rather desperately to find where the Lore Stone currently is located. Now, at the minute, I am in the city of Veretta, and I have gone to. I went there to find this particular person, who apparently is a source of information. No sooner had I found him, we've got evil guys knocking on the door, battering the door down, and trying to give me no end of grief, basically. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to try and evade these evil guys. Okay, let's just have a look in the chat. Oh, we got a whole load of regulars here, but Jake and Ironside, I don't know if I've seen you before. Welcome to the channel, sir. My channel's a bit of a mix of reviews, a lot of industry interviews with people who work in the creative arts, actors, DOPs, producers, that kind of thing. Lots of actors on the channel, actually. Some you definitely will have seen things. And then I also do this rather niche gaming stream, which is a bit of a childhood quest that I always wanted to finish these choose your own adventure books. I did the first 10 and then I kind of gave up. There are 30 of them altogether. And by the way, if you can get hold of any of the ones from 15 onwards, they sell, the original first editions, they sell for hundreds of pounds. I shit you not, they sell for hundreds of pounds on eBay. In fact, I found one of them today going for, I think it was around 300 quid. And bear in mind that these were about sort of 10, 12 pounds when they came out, when they came out back in the day. And let me just, I'll show you one of them on eBay and you'll see what I'm talking about. They are worth the original first editions of these books. Not so much the first 10, but if you can get any of the books from book 11 to book 30, first edition books, they vary in price considerably, but the ones sort of in the top numbers, so like kind of books 20 to 30 and 25 to 30, those books are expensive. Anything from sort of book 10 to book 20, you're looking at 30 quid to get your hands on one of them. But the top end, I mean, here's an entire collection. It's not an entire collection. It's one until book 1 through 21. And some of these are not first edition prints. That's going for, I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. You can have a look. Because these were they were very popular in my country of jolly old England, where we liked a good quest, don't you know? So these were, these are the original. You can see these are, now these are not first edition prints because mine are all first edition. These are second edition covers for the most part, because I can show you that the original cover for Flight from the Dark is this one. That's a first edition Flight from the Dark, and you can see that it's got a different cover there. But even that collection of the first 21 books is going for £330, and that's the starting, but that's the bidding price. That's not and if you look at elsewhere on eBay, a lot of the early ones, they're pretty cheap, but I saw some today. I had a good route round because I was just curious to see how much and if I could get the later ones, because it's going to be quite a while before the later books come out. Oh, Jacob, well, thanks, man. Cannoli's on in a couple of hours, I think. I don't think I'll be there tonight because don't forget I'm in England. But look, here's an example. So this one here, this is £75. This is book 23. So, I mean, that's how much you're looking at paying for book 23. And that's not a first edition. I can just tell from the artwork there. So that's not a first edition. First editions of anything 20 through 30 are a hefty sum, let me tell you. There's one for £75, but that's not a first edition. That's a collector's edition. They were second or third edition prints. The Plague Lords of Rule, I think that might be a first edition. That's 35 quid there. But no, there was some on here. I can't find them now, but they were like £300. They were going for £300, and I hadn't seen them anywhere else. So I guess the scarcity. This is all the Magnamund Companion first mint edition. I used to own this book. This has all the maps in it. It's great. It's got all the maps, and it's got like a monsters compendium. And yeah, Desert Phoenix saying some are available on Amazon for a pretty penny. Now, if you do want to get into this, in the unlikely event that Elden Ring is not more captivating for you, in the unlikely event, but if you do want to get into this, the links for the new books and stuff are all down below. I'm not going to waste any more time with that. We're going to get into the adventure now, but they are all down below. August Hahn, who is largely responsible for reinvigorating the franchise, is one of the industry interviews on my channel. I think he's industry interview 7. But anyway, if you go into the industry interview folder, you'll see them. Now, the Magnamund website, this is it, where you get, these are the new editions of the book. So you can see I've got these behind on the shelf here. So this is the new edition of Flight from the Dark. They've all been updated, and they're all really lovely new artwork, beautiful new maps inside. And then this website is also a wealth of information. There's some other things you can get. These are actually the Stormlands in their entirety. So this is the Chasm of Doom up the top here, which is very much the feature of book 4. And you have to stop an undead army from being raised there. It's quite an exciting adventure. So each book is a continuing story. And that's what I liked about these over Fighting Fantasy. Now, I did actually pick up a new Fighting Fantasy book today from the bookshop. Sorcery, The Crown of Kings by Steve Jackson. But unfortunately, this is book 4 in a series of 4 books. So I'm not going to play it at the moment because I need to go back and buy the other 3, and I can't afford to do that right now. By the way, my channel has just recently become monetized. So that's kind of nice. I'm not expecting to make loads of money or anything. I'm still quite a small fish in a very, 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 very big pond. But I will just say I do appreciate you watching, because I know these days time is the most valuable commodity that we have. And by watching my channel, you are giving me your time. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for your time on my channel. All right, let's not delay any further. Keith, 300 quid. I don't know. I've seen 3 or 4 of them around that price. So have a root round. They're definitely there. And they are the really rare ones. They're like books 27, 26. Book 30 was going for 375 quid. That's the last book in the series. They are not cheap. They are not cheap. I wonder if Debbie will recognize me. Debbie Evans. I don't know, Keith. I wonder. You'll have to be on there. Yeah, so 9 o'clock UK time tomorrow. And I reckon that interview is going to be a good couple of hours. So I'll be on probably until about this sort of time. But not much longer than that, because I don't like keeping, when I have my guests on, I don't like keeping them on too late. It is possible we might get a quick visit from the Potato King. Sorry, that's not his name. The Gourd King, who is someone I've met through Canoli, Sasquatch's channel. Canoli, Sasquatch, great guy. Really lovely of them to have me on their channel, incidentally. Okay, so I'm going to carry on playing this game. Now, every so often, I may ask you for a help making a decision in the book. Now, remember, this is part 3, so I think this stream is going to be pretty short. I may complete the book fairly quickly, but as you can see, it's all numbered sections. In fact, let's just make this bigger for you. As you can see, it's all numbered sections. I'm currently in the observatory in the town of Vasagonia, and that's where I am right now. And I've just met up with this guy. I'm going to recap the last section for you guys. So I'm the Kai Lord. I'm kind of like a Jedi character, okay? The stars divine the shape of things to come. They are your advisors. We know of your quest for the Law Stone. We know that it is a true quest, and we pledge you our help. So these are the guys I've just met in the observatory. But there are many of our brethren who fear its power. They choose to ignore the wisdom of the stars, and they have pledged themselves to foolish and dangerous vow to keep the location of the Law Stone, which I'm trying to find, hidden from all those who come seeking it. Suddenly, his words are cut short by the beating against the observatory door. "Give the intruder to us!" screams a chorus of angry voices. "Quickly, we must leave at once," says Gwinion, I think, as he ushers you into a smaller room. A hidden catch is pulled, a secret panel creaks open, and you follow the sage and his companions into the darkness. Sounds a bit dodgy to me. As you hear the door to the observatory splinter and break open behind you. To continue, turn to 158. Okay, well, I'm going to do that. Turn to 158. Now, I normally like doing these streams with somebody, and I've had RM on before. I've had the Inside Man do these with me. I've had Mel from the Outcast Creative. I've had Alex Tabrizi from the Outcast Creative. But most of these people are on English time, and they're not up at this sort of time, whereas I'm a bit of a night owl, so I am. So, okay, the passage, here we go. The passage leads to a vaulted cellar as cold and as silent as a tomb. Gwinion, I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm going to type this name, by the way, into chat, and you can tell me how you think it might be pronounced. Help if I spell it right. Actually, that would be useful, wouldn't it? Gwinion. There you go. I think it's Gwinion. Gwinion. I don't know. Gwinion. I'm going to go with Gwinion. Gwinion talks with his brothers, and then they hurry towards a distant portal. As they disappear into the darkness, he returns to your side, his face somber but composed. "The Law Stone of Veretta was hidden in the crypt of the Cathedral of Takiro by Lady Sunerd, one of the main protagonists of the War of the Law Stone. This key belongs to her and will unlock the tomb in which it lies." He produces a silver key from his sleeve and gives it to you. "My brother will provide a swift horse for your journey." Oh, the Cathedral of Takiro. That's the city that's under siege. On the map, guys, that is, if I increase the... now, Takiro is down in the south. So, I don't know if you can see that, but it's at the bottom of the screen there. On the right, there we are. Yeah, on the bottom of the right, that's Takiro. So, or Takaro, maybe it's pronounced Takaro. Well, let's go with Takaro. That kind of sounds a bit cooler, doesn't it? So I'm gonna minimize our map a little bit, change the area. So we're currently in Veretta. I think one of the ways we're going to be able to get to Takaro is by boat from Soren, because I met a mercenary, and they said they were leaving by boat to Takaro to help lift the siege. So I might... Gwinion, Desert Phoenix says Gwinion or Gwinion. Don't know. Anyway, let us return to this section. "My brothers will provide a swift horse for your journey. When the observatory clock strikes midnight, you'll be visited by 3 ghosts." No, sorry, that's a different story. "Enter the portal and follow the passage to the end. It passes beneath the city wall. Your horse will be waiting where the passage comes to the surface. You are welcome to take any items you wish from this cellar that may be useful to your quest. May Kai and Ishia always protect you. Lone Wolf." By the way, did I mention I'm an actor? So, yeah. You're occasionally, not a very successful one. You nod your thanks and watch as Gwinion disappears into the portal. The cellar is well stocked with provisions, and you find the following items that could be of use on your journey to Takaro. Okay, so there are the following things: a brass whistle, which I already have, a rope, which I already have, a mace, which I already have, a short sword, which I don't want to carry because I've already got 2 weapons. There's enough meals for there's 3 meals. Now, I don't have any meals at the minute, so I'm going to add those meals to my backpack, which is currently at 0 meals. I've also got Sinead's silver key. Now, I've got 12 items already, special items. So I'm going to get rid of one of them. I'm going to get rid of a copper key because I'm pretty sure I got that on the last adventure. I don't think it's going to be any use here. So Sinead's, I don't know if that's named after Sinead O'Connor. I'd like to think they were. Sinead's silver key. Tragic that she passed away so young, incidentally, and tragic tragic life, really. Joshua's here. Hello, sir. Nice to see you popping in. I need some water, you know, guys. I need some water. Here we go. All right. Okay. So we have to get to Caro. Now, when I get choices, I'm going to chuck them out to you, and you guys can help me decide. Okay, so we have. Okay. So I collect my items. I go to 175. 175. I try to always read the numbers out because even despite the fact that I've got these little things that I can mark them with, occasionally I get lost. 175. When the observatory clock strikes midnight, bong, you're poised and ready to enter the portal. You follow a dry stone passageway until you arrive at an iron door. Okay. It opens with a grating squeal and a gust of damp, earthy air, mixed with a strange sweetness, billows out. Before you, a narrow stone stairway twists away into the darkness. You are forced to tread carefully on the moss-green, slippery steps. That's a big feature, by the way, in steps. In this world, generally, they're always covered in moss and they're always slippery. You may wish to note that you have visited the city of Veretta for future reference. I think I will. So I'm going to put that on my character sheet right now. City of Veretta. Okay. Veretta. Okay. Right. Okay. So I've got some options here, guys. You're in a small copse close to a highway junction. In the light of the moon, you can see a signpost that indicates 2 destinations, Amory and Soren. Soren is the one that's on the river. Consult the map at the front of the book. So I'm either going to take the highway to Amory or I'm going to take the highway to Soren. Now, guys, fire your suggestions in the chat. My inclination is that we should go to Soren because on the previous run through of this, I was able to. I met some mercenaries, and they said the following day, which will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock, they were departing via river barge to relieve the city of Takaro, which is under siege. So if I go via land through Amory, I've also got to negotiate the woods down this way, go through the small town of Elio, and then Uli, which is probably controlled by the enemy, then cross a bridge and then get into the town. If I go via the boat and I go via Soren, which is here, I think that's going to be a bit faster and a bit easier. Okay, no suggestions in the chat, but that could just be because you're 10 minutes behind me. My inclination is to go to Soren. So I'm going to turn to 267 and see what it says, but I'm going to reserve the right to retrace my steps and go back if needs be, if I don't like what I hear. Okay, so this is where we're making the chase. Josh, I did not do those pictures. Somebody else did them for me. So I've no idea who did that AI. One of my graphic designers, Jake Francis, who's done various things for me, posters and whatnot, he did them. I just wanted to get a new lone wolf image, and he combined it with my face, which was quite funny. Desert Phoenix, it says river. So don't forget, guys, as soon as I have a choice, you can all chip in, man. So don't be afraid to chip in. Okay, here we go. The night passes without sleep because there's a howling wind along the Vereritan plain, which serves as a mournful accompaniment as you ride the long, straight moonlit highway to Soren. When dawn finally breaks, you find yourself on the outskirts of a small, undistinguished hamlet with half-timbered buildings. The only unusual feature of this settlement is a bronze statue of a roguish young man who stands in front of the blacksmith shop. Okay, two options. I can examine the statue, or I can ignore the statue and the hamlet and continue on my way to Soren. So, guys, so we're currently on this road here between Veretta and Soren. There's a hamlet, probably about halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way. So should I investigate? Should I investigate the statue and I guess the blacksmith shop in the process, or should I push on? Now, while you're deciding that, out of curiosity, I'm just going to go back and see what would have happened if I'd gone the other way. Okay, so you kind of come across a fortified manor house and you've got the same option, either investigate it or carry on to Amory. So so that's interesting. Very kind of similar, you know, there's a stop off or you can continue. My inclination I'm trying to explore as much of the world as possible. And although my quest is urgent, it's not time dependent. So I think I'm going to examine... Yeah, I think I'm going to examine this this thing. Here we go. The weather-worn plaque bolt to the base of the statue that is a true likeness of Bernard Dupe, who led a band of robbers that preyed on travelers, especially merchants. His many crimes included murder. Well, that's nice, isn't it? And by the way, thanks to the 9 people that are watching. That's quite an unusual number for the Lone Wolf stream because this is quite a niche gaming stream. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you for giving me your time. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. Do a little post. Time for a bat break. Oh, the Gourd King is here. Mate, pop on. You've got the link to the stream. So if you want to pop in for a couple of minutes, even if it's a short time, you've got the stream. Pop on, mate. Gourd King's got his own channel. We've just kind of become YouTube buddies, but I can tell it's a bonding that's going to last. I can tell that if we were reborn in Vietnam, this is a man who would jump from a helicopter to save me from machine gun fire in the field of battle and carry my injured person back to safety. So that's how connected me and the Gourd King are already. Okay, I do like it when I make good friends on YouTube. So I see chat's mainly discussing David Macy's script at the moment. That's fine. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Okay, let me continue. Right, so I've gone to see this statue. His many crimes include murder, but did not prevent him from becoming popular because he was resourceful and daring and never plundered the inhabitants of this hamlet where he himself was born. Bit of a Robin Hood then, okay. His exploits and those of a score of his gang were ended by the executioner's axe after a summary trial at Amory. That's the other place. There is a slit in the belly of the statue from which gold coins can be dropped. If you wish to make a donation, place some gold coins in the statue to continue turn of 73. I don't think I'm going to give any gold coins to the statue of the robber who killed people. And he's not around anymore anyway. So who would I be giving these gold coins to exactly? Not sure I really... Right, so... Shortly before noon, you pass through another deserted village. Ah, look at that. Hey!
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm well. I'm just grabbing some headphones real quick so there's hopefully not too much echo.
Actually, I can hear you just fine. It sounds like you're almost in the other room, which would be eerie because then that would mean that you have, in fact, mastered the skill of teleportation and have beamed into my house from the United States.
I have only managed that skill with the hair on my head, though I don't
Oh,
know where it teleported to.
there we go. Well, I don't know if you've got any idea what you're looking at or understand what I'm doing here. But if you have, feel free to jump in and elaborate.
Well,
I'm going to take it from that deathly nervous silence that the Gourd King is uncertain at this time. I'm basically playing a choose your own adventure book. I don't know if you remember these when you were younger, but they've. Let me take the map down for a second. So this map is the part of the world that I'm currently exploring, and this is what the book looks like. So it's a series of numbers, and I get the people in chat or my casual guest, such as your good self, to help me with my choices. I'm kind of playing the role of what's called a Kai in this particular world. They're basically like Jedi, so they're kind of like warrior monks. There was a whole order of us, and in the first book, our monastery got attacked, and we were massively sort of devastated and massacred, basically. And I was the only one that survived. And then I stopped various kingdoms from being destroyed by these evil Dark Lord types. So that's kind of what happens in the first few books. Now I'm on a quest to find a thing, to get a thing, to do another thing, if you know what I mean. So I'm on a quest to find the thing. The thing in this case, the MacGuffin, is called the Law Stone. My character also has kind of hit points. He's carrying various weapons and magical items. He's got a set of skills as well. I've got sort of a 13 different skills, which may or may not occasionally become useful. And so that's what I'm doing. And this is part 3 of doing this one particular book. Now, these books were originally published in the 80s, and I've got the first 10 of them here. So the original edition of this looks like this. It's even got your mutant bullfrog dragon pet on the front, which you told me you had locked up in the shed.
That's
See?
true.
Yeah, looks remarkably similar. So very good likeness.
Just like him.
Yeah, so that obviously somebody used that time travel device to do a drawing of your pet, and then they put it on the front of this book when they went back in time. So
that was nice of them.
Yeah, you can tell my imagination just runs wild when I'm doing these streams, but it just makes it entertaining. So I was watching you playing Elden Ring, and I was thinking, who needs 3D graphics and 360 views when I can read a description from a book and tell people what's happening, and do all the different voices myself. Can't be true. That. Yeah. All right. So I'm basically at the minute, I am traveling. If I get that map back up for a second, I'm traveling to this town called Soren, and I met some mercenaries earlier who said it's this one up here. If you can see where I'm.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's on the river. Now, I've been told that this Law Stone is in the crypt of the cathedral at Takaro, which is down here. I met some mercenaries a day ago who told me they were taking a boat from Soren to Takaro to get involved in the siege, but which side they were going to fight for was a little unclear to me at the time. But they did say that they would give me a lift if I wanted to join them for a bit. So I remembered that. So I decided to travel from Veretta, which is where I found out about where the Law Stone is being kept, to Soren to try and catch these mercenaries and catch their boat, because I figure if I can go down the river, it's going to be a lot faster. So there you go. Now you're on a Batman stream with Cannoli Sasquatch later.
This is true.
So you're talking about the Robert Pattinson Batman?
That is correct.
What would you give that on 10 out of IMDb, just out of interest?
I would give it a 5.
Ooh.
I think it is my feelings towards the Batman are kind of similar to the way I felt about The Force Awakens after a few months after that came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't think first time I saw The Force Awakens, I liked it more or less fine, but the more I watched it, the more I thought about it. I was like, this is not really a great movie, but it has a decent foundation they could build off of. Now, we obviously know how great that went, but I feel very similar about the Batman. I would say the Batman is a slightly better movie than The Force Awakens by itself. I do think
Yeah.
there is a foundation to build on there, but overall, my biggest issue with it, and this is why I love Batman as a character, and as a comic and all that stuff, is because there's great characters in that, and this movie is so lacking in character.
Yeah, I mean, it's also got more plot holes in it than a Swiss cheese, as we discussed earlier. And I mean, I won't get into that now, but stay on here for a little bit, and you can help me with some of my choices. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it may not sound good, but you're here, so you might as well do it. So, okay, so here's where we were at. Shortly before noon, I passed through a deserted village, so I'm kind of halfway to Soren, I think. The burnt-out ruins of cottages and outlying farmsteads dot the landscape like charred skeletons. These are the unmistakable signs of war. Okay, so this kingdom, by the way, these are known as the Stormlands, and you can see there's a couple of different kingdoms here, like Slovia over here, Lyris over here, Edenora here, and then you've got Delden here. These are all at war with each other, these kingdoms.
Okay.
So they're all kind of fighting, and it's said that the person that gets the Law Stone will become the ruler of the Stormlands. Not that I particularly want that job, I just need to point out. RK's asked if I'm going to go through the fighting fantasy books. Mate, funny you should say that, because I bought one of them today. One of the new ones. It's an absolute whopper. It's got about 773 sections. That's almost as many sections as Elden Ring. But wow. obviously, graphically it's more fun because it's a book. But this is book 4 of a series, and I didn't realize that it was a series because most fighting fantasy books stand alone, whereas the Lone Wolf books that I'm reading now are part of a series, which is why I like them so much. Because what you don't know, Gord King, is that see the map that you get in the front of this. That's on the inside of the sleeve and on the book, and on every book there's a new map, and they all patch together. So the actual world for this place overall is absolutely ginormous, with all 30 books putting it all together, and there's also various expansions and things. So this is the bigger map, and if I move it around, you can see how huge it is.
Wow.
And all the different, I know, puts Elden Ring to shame, doesn't it? Terrible.
Kind of does. Most video game maps, if not all of them.
Do you know what? I've watched that game, and it's like it looks fun, but
it's a lot of fun.
I liked this. Did you play Fallout Las Vegas?
Yes.
I really liked the story element of that and the missions and the character interaction. There doesn't seem to be a lot of that with Elden Ring. It seems to be ride on horse, have a big sword, go and beat some smaller bad guys, and then go and beat a bigger bad guy, and then go to the next section and do the same thing. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, what's different about Elden Ring and the developer and like the guy behind those games, and he's the guy behind the Dark Souls trilogy, Bloodborne, and this.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the way they do storytelling is you're kind of uncovering the lore and the story at your leisure. There is a bigger overarching story, but they're not kind of hand feeding it to you. You kind of have to dig in to find it if you want. And it's really hard to do as you're actually playing it. So it does create something of a disconnect. But there are a lot of really great channels out there that dissect this stuff. The most famous is probably this one called Vatividia. He's got like well over 2 million subscribers.
Wow.
And he breaks down the lore of pretty much all of the From Software games.
Wow.
Like the only game they did that has a much more straightforward story is probably Sekiro, which that was the game I played right before Elden Ring.
I don't understand, and I've done a lot of work on a potential game for this. We're getting sidetracked here, but it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand why no one, as of yet, has done a historical, same kind of thing as Fallout Las Vegas, World War II, free roaming guy, where and at the beginning of the game. So let's say that the battle would be Stalingrad, right? Mm-hmm. So you would have an entire 3D map of the entire city of Stalingrad, not just that, but all of the land around it that was covered in the battle as well, right over to the airfield and everything else. And you would play your character's missions in real time, and like a pebble being chucked in a pond, whatever outcome you had with your missions would gradually affect everything else. And you could play the Russian or German. Another great one would be to do an entire map of the Normandy area of D-Day that was covered by all the British and American forces, and you could pick whether you're going to land on a landing craft, or you're going to pick if you're one of the British or the American paratroopers and which unit you're with, or you can pick one of the defending German units. And again, the whole thing plays out in real time, and you have all missions in that. I don't understand why no one's done that game yet.
Yeah, it always seems like the way they approach war games, particularly war games that are centered around like real life wars that have happened, is they generally seem to do them as first person shooters. I think there is one where it's a real time strategy game, kind of like StarCraft or Warcraft, called Company of Heroes.
Yeah, no, I've got that, but they haven't.
Yeah, it's very different from what you're describing.
They haven't quite done it the way that I've wanted them to, and it's not a game where you run around the map as fast as possible, shooting everything that you can, which is what you do when you go on a game with 20, 15-year-old kids and they kick your ass.
Yeah.
That sort of tactic wouldn't work for this. The other thing as well is that was really important to the game is you'd have a casualty counter on the screen at all times, so you'd see the Allied and the German casualties as the battle goes on, and of course you would affect that depending on what missions you do and all the rest of it. Anyway, I am getting sidetracked. Let's get back to the game. So these are my choices, right? So a mile or two further along the highway, I come to a church. There's a man with ragged clothes caked in mud. Sounds like Canoli Sasquatch to me. He's moving erratically among the gravestones. Yeah, definitely. He's flapping his arms and staggers from one grave to another like a wounded carrion crow. As you reach the church gate, he sees you and cries out pitifully for your help. Now, if you have the Magna Chi discipline of curing, that's kind of like a healing ability. Right. You turn to page 173. I do not have that. If you do not possess this skill, you can attempt to help him anyway. If you do not respond to his pitiful cries, you can just continue riding on towards Soren. So, do you think I should go and try and help this guy, or should I carry on my way?
And you're on your way to find some mercenaries, correct?
Well, I'm on my way to get a boat to go down to that city. Okay. I don't think time's a factor at the minute.
Right.
So, and I am kind of a sort of Jedi goodly order. David Macy is screaming, help him.
Yes, I would tend to be of the same mindset. Maybe give him some water, or I don't know exactly how extensive the options are to help him, but I would be inclined to help them.
Well, what's going to happen is we're going to turn to page 337 and find out. So it says 337.
If you had said page 237, I'd be worried he would turn into a very old naked man, like The Shining.
It says if you have chosen this choice because Lord of the Potato People, the Gourd King, has assisted you on your journey, you've made the wrong choice, because suddenly a dozen grim-faced robbers spring up from behind the churchyard wall. It's a fucking ambush is what it is. The wounded man straightens himself and unsheaths a rusty scimitar. An evil cackle issues from the black-toothed mouth as he advances towards you. The robbers vault the stone wall. Now I've got to fight them. Due to their superior numbers, you may only evade this confrontation in the first round of combat. Fuck that. I'm not going to evade it. Right. So this is how combat works, right? They've got a combat skill of 17. Fortunately, with my sword and all my extra groovy bits, I've got a combat skill of 30. So the difference between 30 and 17, is 13. So that means when I roll for damage on the combat chart, which we're going to do in a second, I'm rolling on the plus 11, which I think is the highest you can go. The plus 11 or greater chart at the end here, okay? And when you roll a dice between 1 and 10, so even if I roll the lowest number possible, the enemy in the first round of combat is going to take 9 points of damage, and I'm only going to take 3. If I roll the top numbers, they're going to die. See, K, that means KIA, basically.
Nice.
So what we do now, see, like Elden Ring hasn't got shit on this level of sophistication, because look, I've got a die rolling app that I'm going to share on the screen so you can actually see the dice. And that way I can't cheat. Now they are there. They're slightly cropped out. Okay, so it's not that sophisticated, but, it's nearly there. All right, so I'm going to roll a D10. Here we go. All right. So I have rolled a 7. That is good. A 7 is 18 points of damage, and I take nothing. I think
Nice.
that their constitution was not that high, much higher. We'll do another round. 3. Okay, I take 2 points of damage. They take 11, so they've taken 29 in total. Let me see if that's enough to kill them. So what you need to picture is, which obviously uses your imagination, is me dancing around like Jackie Chan, doing lots of maneuvers with my sword and killing like one guy, then spinning around, stabbing another one, then kind of doing the splits and chopping another one's head off, and that kind of thing. They've got endurance of 32. They're not dead yet. Okay, let's go one more. Another round. 3. They're dead now. So, okay, so I took the total amounts of damage I took in that combat was 4. So I have got endurance of 26. It's now currently at 22. So my guy is pretty good in a fight.
Sorry, Cannoli, you didn't make it.
Maybe because
Nor did your other Sasquatch men.
Yeah, that's right. Look, David Macy put help, but don't trust them. Desert Phoenix. So everybody, everybody fell for it. Okay, so if you decide to fight them and win, turn to 40. Well, I have one, so let's see what happens. Okay, we're going to go to 40. I better get some. Oh, listen to this. A search of the bodies reveals 27 gold crowns.
Worth it.
That means I've now got 49. So it's a bit like that scene with Matthew Broderick where he's got the hefty purse in Ladyhawke. I've also got a bottle of wine and a mirror. Well, I'll take the wine. I don't need the mirror. I'm not that vain.
Yeah.
So he's going to take the bottle of wine. Very good. You never know when that's going to become in handy. Bribing guards, that kind of thing. Okay, so several graves. Oh, they've several graves have been dug up, and the coffin lids lie shattered and discarded everywhere. So the weapons that the thieves used were old and obviously acquired from the bodies in the tombs. Gross. Okay, so they were basically a bunch of grave robbers, literally. Well, I'll kick their bodies back in the graves. Saves me having to bury them.
Yeah, convenient.
Yeah, economical.
You can almost argue it's kind of them to be that way.
Okay, so the next chapter says, you're tired after your long night's ride, but you know that you must press on regardless if you're to reach the town of Sorum by nightfall. When you come to a shallow stream that crosses the highway, you stop briefly. You must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Now, I could actually ignore that because we're in the countryside and I have the skill of hunting. So I can use the skill of hunting instead of eating a meal. But because my guy's feeling a bit lazy, he's just going to eat a meal anyway.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit knackered. So I don't think he's going to go and want to set traps for rabbits and things right now. And then I see a signpost that says 25 miles to Soren. Okay, time to make my horse gallop a little bit. Okay, 102. Right, night has fallen. By the time you reach the river town of Soren, the sky is clear and full of stars that sparkle with icy splendor. So you just don't get the same visualization with graphics, do you, in Elden Ring? You ride along the main street towards the quay, where a score of river ships lie docked at the town's main pier, their signal lamps shimmering red and green from mast tops. A board standing beside the gangplank of a large transport catches your eye. On it are chalked the prices of package to 3 Stormland destinations, Luyen, Rem, and Ula, 10, 15, and 20 crowns respectively. A 4th destination, Takaro, which is where I want to go, has been crossed out, and it says cancelled due to war. Right, so the 2 options are these. I can either buy a ticket to one of these destinations. Let's take this die rolling app down for a sec. Or I can not buy a ticket, and I guess then I'll go and wander around the town. Now, if we get the map back up again for a sec, I want to get as close to Caro as I can. So Uli is the town just above it. See that there?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the 3rd stop. So Uli is 20 crowns. Thank God I picked up all that money, eh?
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm going to buy a ticket then. Turn
that's
to
what I would do.
10. Okay, yeah, exactly. So
They actually, this has been turned into a video game too. Now that I think about it.
what, Lone Wolf?
Yeah.
I think it was, but like way back in the day.
Well, I think they remastered it around the PS4
Oh,
generation.
really?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was a free title or not, but I like when you held the book up, I recognized the emblem on it. And at first, I was like, I remember seeing something that I initially had thought was The Witcher, but it turned out to be something else. And I checked, and it's Lone Wolf. So yeah, they remastered that.
I'd be really interested in playing that game. It'd
Yeah.
be fascinating if it's based on the books and how many of the books it covers. I think a free roaming version of Lone Wolf would be fantastic because the world building for these books is incredible. And I mean, you don't just get the adventure, but at the back of each book, there's like a glossary, and it gives you a description of not only the cultures of this particular part of the world, but there's also like a section on all of the major cities, describes what they're like, what the traditions are in the cities, and then you get like a mini monster manual for any new monsters that come in this book as well. And then there's also some character descriptions from some of the big characters that you're going to meet or hear about. And sometimes if you read some of that stuff in advance, you kind of it's quite useful. So yeah, it's a really, the world building on Lone Wolf is really, really good. Okay, here we go. A jovial man. This is your chance to do a bit of acting, Goldking. A jovial man with long strands of hair hanging down from the point of his chin. I mean, it sounds completely like you, I have to say. Lies in a hammock suspended at the end of the gangplank. One eye pops open as you walk onto the deck, and as quick as a flash, he jumps down and produces a fistful of tickets from his breast pocket. Welcome aboard the Casanora, he says excitedly. The best river boat that's ever sailed the Storm. Okay, so I think the Storm is the river that River Storm it is. Okay. You glance back at the board and notice the prices. We leave at midnight, sir, so you best be boarding your horse in the hold without delay. Once you've decided which ticket you wish to buy, erase the number of gold crowns, keep the ticket in your pocket, and then turn to 82. Okay, so I'm buying the expensive one. So my gold crowns just went up to 49, didn't it? Because I found all that money. So I'm going to spend 20. So I've now got 29 left. That's quite handy. Turn to 82. Okay. By the way, there's quite a lot of funny pictures in this book, and whenever I come across any, I always hold them up to the screen, just to give you those impressive kind of Elden Ring type graphics.
Very
so
nice.
Absolutely, the hold of the riverboat is full of horses. Whew. So that's gonna pong. Hopefully
I'm in Kentucky. I'm used to it.
Oh, right, okay. These are not the slow cart horses favoured by the Stormland merchants, but strong and sturdy mounts that carry many scars of battle. You unsaddle your mare, load her manger with feed, and then make your way back to the deck. As you emerge from the hold, a voice calls out to you. It is the captain, the mercenary leader, whom you ran across at the Inn of the Crossed Swords. This is the guy I was telling you about. Well, my friend, he cries and slaps you enthusiastic. So you changed your mind. You've come to join my band of fearless fighters, eh? Before you have a chance to answer, the captain and his men, who are all noticeably worse the wear for drink because they've been on Canoli's Batman stream, stumble past on a quest of the utmost importance, a search for the boat's wine store. You are far too tired and weary to follow them. The thought of your cabin bed and a good night's sleep is all that interests you now. Well, I could have given them wine, I suppose, but I'll let them go and find their own. So I've now got to go to 341. Okay, and then we've got some choices. With your horse stabled safely in the hold, all that remains for you to do is find your cabin. This proves to be a tiny room at the bow, but at least it's comfortable. You fall asleep as soon as your head touches the pier. Oh, there is actually a little picture. I'll show you, just because, I want to keep emphasizing those unique qualities that Elden Ring doesn't possess. There you go. See?
Nice.
See? Yeah, great, eh? One of those I drew earlier. You wake an hour after dawn and peer out of the circular porthole. Drizzle obscures all the detail and the sky is tinged with grey. See, even the weather changes. As the day approaches, the river mist grows thicker and whiter as you go up on deck. The captain stands alone at the rail, the shoulders of his leather cloak soaked by the cold drizzle. He nods you a welcome and points towards the Senna Mountains. And where are they? Let's have a look. The Senna Mountains, or Cena Mountains, because it's kind of spelt a bit like John Cena.
Well, then you can't see them.
Senna Mountains. Yeah, and by the way, man, anytime that you've got to go, just give me a 5-minute warning.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's well. I think in the private chat I went ahead and put down my time, so it's about 15 minutes from now.
Okay, man.
I'll have to get back to the Batman.
no problem. Well, I better get all the important decisions done now while I can glow in the bestowment of your wisdom. So, foul weather robs us of any landmarks. So I guess the Cena the Cena Mountains are the ones on the right here, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, so we're going through the John Cena Mountains. Right. If you have completed the Law Circle of Solaris, basically Law Circles are if you've completed a certain number of skills, you've completed a circle of skills, which means you're very proficient in a certain arena of things and you get lots of bonuses. But okay. I haven't completed any circles yet. It's nice to see. Great to see that people are. There's Ollie. This guy's a young filmmaker who's in the middle of making his fantasy epic film, which he promises me is gonna have loads of castles in it. Not really. I keep saying, "Where's the castle?" in your trailer. Got to have a castle in a fantasy film. Where do the people live in this world? Exactly. They all live in the woods. What's up with that? No one's going to do that. Okay, if I haven't completed this law circle, which I haven't, turn to 44. Yeah, because there's one skill that I don't have, so to complete that, unfortunately, 44. Is it caveated with a Gourd King statement? Let's see. Suddenly there's a tremendous jolt and you're thrown headfirst against the rail and I lose two endurance points. But now I've got the Kai discipline of healing. So for every section of the book that I go through where I'm not in combat, I heal 2 points. So since we had that combat section, I've actually been through 3 sections at least. So my endurance would now be back up to 23. Probably higher actually, taking into account the 2 that I would have just lost. Okay, so there's a jolt on the boat, twisting metal and crack of splintering wood. Oh dear. There's silence as the canoe shudders and dips violently. The boat has run into a boom, a line of logs chained together across the river. Sounds like an ambush to me.
Another one.
Yeah. Nar's teeth, cries the captain. Have we run aground? As the word leaves his lips, a grapple and a rope drops from the sky and into the wooden rail. More follow through the swirling mist. You can make out the shapes of longboats approaching. River pirates, shouts the helmsman. Prepare to repel boarders. Isn't that a line from Flash Gordon? Further along the deck, one of the captain's crew is felled by a throw knife. His comrades rush to his aid, but they fail to reach him in time. The river pirates are pouring over the side of the boat as he's callously trampled underfoot. Okay, well, that's the end of him.
Poor guy.
Battle order, bellows the captain, and immediately his crew respond by linking their shields and holding their ground. Okay, right, now we've got some choices here. One of their number, a lean man with only one ear and a split nose, smiles at you with anticipation. This is one of the bad guys. His lips are drawn back from his teeth and his eyes wide with excitement. Sounds like he's done a bit too much cocaine to me. He's relishing the thought of ending your life. Okay, so if you have a bow and wish to use it, I do. I have a bow and it's also a very good bow with a +3. Or I can prepare for combat by other means, or I can choose to evade the combat. So, Gourd King, what do you reckon?
I happen to be someone who, if you watch my Elden Ring stream, you'll know I do favor the bow in many situations.
I have seen you. I have seen you use the bow, sir, on the Spider King of Kraxas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all about some archery.
All right, excellent. All right, see, I'm bonding with the Good King even more. I'm all about the archery too, sir. So I used to make like crossbows from curtain rails when I was a kid. Great
Nice.
fun. Yeah. My parents didn't think that was a good idea. All right, the riverboat is rocking violently from the collision, and it's throwing you off your balance. With difficulty, you raise your arrow, take aim at the man's chest, and then try and anticipate the shift of the deck. If you have the magnified discipline of weaponry with the bow, add 3 to your score. Now, but I can add 3 to my score anyway because the bow gives me a +3, so I don't need that. So I'm going to roll. I've got to roll on the dice roll, and I need to roll 6 or higher because I can tell from what it's saying. So let's do a die roll and see if we can take out this guy. All right, here we go.
Let's go Legolas on this crackhead.
Exactly. All right. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, no.
Rolled a fucking 1. That's the first one I've rolled in forever. You're a curse, God King. What's going on? This bet right. When I turn to this next page, it better not say your adventure ends here. 23. Okay. Your arrow whistles past his shoulder and buries itself in another man's leg as he is attempting to jump from the ship's rail. If you have another weapon, you must unsheath it now. Fortunately, I do. I have a +10 sword, so that's all good. Okay, so I'm going to turn to 92. The man shrieks his battle cry and lashes out at you. Okay, this guy's got endurance of 23. Okay, can you remember the number as I take the damage on him?
Okay, 23.
So he's got 23 points, but I'm going to tell you points to deduct off that. Okay, as we go. All right. He's got combat skill of 17, so I've killed him. I don't even need to. I rolled a 9. He's dead. So if you win the combat in 3 rounds or less, turn to 77. I certainly do. Lopped his head off. Right.
The crackhead lost his head.
Leaping over the slain, you fight your way across the deck where the captain is in fierce combat with 5 pirates. While he attacks them with his long sword in his right hand, he parries an enemy cutlass with a shield that encases his left forearm. He fights with cool determination. Sounds like you, God King, making light work of the battle clumsy pirates. Then the blare of a war horn heralds the arrival of a new formidable wave of attackers. You anticipate the captain's danger and rush to protect his back from these snarling, mad-eyed berserkers. Okay, they've got a slightly better combat skill of 20. That still puts me in the +10 chart. They've got endurance of 30, so they're not going to die on the first go.
Okay.
All right, so 7 is going to take off. So remember, they've lost 18 from 30, okay? So they're on 16. 16.
16 off of 30?
They're on 14.
Right.
I have lost nothing. That's good. Okay, let's Jackie Chan again. 3. That's not so good. They have lost 10.
Down to 4.
I have lost 2. So I'm down to 21. We should remember that I can heal myself after this. Okay, I reckon I'm going to kill him this time. Oh, dude. Okay, I did 8 damage to them, so I think they are dead.
They are dead now.
But I lost 3 as a result of that, so I am down to 18. Okay, all right. If you win this combat, turn to 297. Okay, 297 it is. Let's see where we're at. 297. By the way, Ollie, if you're still watching, my channel is monetized, mate. So knowing how much you love to donate to the poor, feel free to pay for a super chat. The tide of the battle has now turned in your favor. Well, this is a big, long section, but I'm going to abbreviate it. The pirates came looking for easy plunder, but your furious resistance has broken their nerve, guided no doubt by the prompt and accurate decisions of the Gourd King's guidance. They flee from the decks, scrambling hurriedly in their longboats to escape. The captain follows and hews at them with his sword. He cuts a bloody trail to the ship's rail, grabs the pirate leader by the scruff of his neck, then rams the man's head against the mast once, twice, 3 times with a rage that splits the timber and cracks the pirate's leather-clad skull. So these books are available for your children now to play. Just saying. The battle ends as swiftly as it began, with the surviving pirates melting away like phantoms in the mist. The pirate berserkers trapped them below decks, and hang on. There's only a few casualties among the mercenary, but the boat's crew have been decimated. Only one escaped. Captain takes command, marshalling repairs at once. He was impressed by your martial prowess and courage during the assault, and noticed how you're admiring his sleeve shield. He offers to swap it for any one piece of armor you possess. This adds 1 combat skill and 1 endurance point when used in physical combat. But that means I'm going to have to give up something of mine. And all of my armor gives me +2 endurance, the various armor bits that I've got. I don't think I need to make my combat skill any higher, so I'm going to decline the captain's offer there, much as I appreciate it. It does sound like a little groovy item, but I mean, I'm carrying so much stuff already. Okay, right. Here's the options ahead of us. Right, we've arrived in Luyan, the city of flowers and wine. Well, that's one of my 2 favorite things, so that sounds good already.
There you go.
All right, now I know you've got to get off shortly, so why don't I read out the choices on this one?
Sounds good.
You can help me make the choice, and then you can go and do the far more exciting thing of discussing Robert Pattinson's Batman. Okay, so tell Cannoli and all the others I said hi, though.
I will.
And I would have popped on to see them, but I can't do 2 streams in a row because I have to do so much talking on this. Besides, also, you have to tell what's her name that I haven't prepared any Henry Cavill letters for her. Is it Lux or Vux or something?
Vex.
Vex, that's the one. Okay, right. City of flowers and wine greets you. Its towers and timbered houses and fortified walls. So this is City of Luyan. Oh, okay. So we're here.
Okay.
So we're only about halfway there. I'm not due to get off at this city, but I don't suppose that matters much now, seeing as the crew are all dead. It lies in the shadow of Senna's at a dangerous mountain bend. Yeah, the John Cena Mountains. We've covered that. The captain docks at the Luyan quayside for provisions. The crew busies itself with a myriad of tasks. You accompany him on a visit to visit the Luyan apothecary. What's an apothecary again? Remind me.
I think an apothecary is where you get like healing salves or medicine, things like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's like a CVS pharmacy.
The captain, I know what one of those is. Captain seeks medicines of strength and healings in readiness for the battle ahead. The Herbmaster's eyes widen with delight when he reads the captain's list. The items he requires include many of his most expensive preparations. If you wish to examine some of the potions that line the shelves, turn to 2. If you decide to take a look at some of the other shops while the Herbmaster prepares the captain's order. Well, I think we should look at some of the other potions, don't you?
I do.
All right, let's do that quickly. See if there's a... Okay, here we go. You can tell me what to get. So there's several potions here. So I've got, just out of the interest money-wise, I have 29 gold crowns. So I can get a potion of Lampspur. So Lampspur is a healing potion, but I've already got 3 of those in my pouch. So I'm not going to need that. I can get a potion of Gallow Brush. Induces sleep for 1 to 2 hours. So that's good for knocking people out. I can get Redilim's Elixir, which is like a stronger healing potion. I guess that's kind of like Oxycontin or something. Potion of Aletha, which increases your combat skill by 2 for the duration of 1 combat. I've already got 1 of those. Graveweed Concentrate. It's a poison that causes death if swallowed. So those are the ones that are on option. So I can pay for those now if I want to buy any. Now I already have I have the weaker healing potion. My endurance has gone up by 2 because I'm 2 rounds out. I'm 2 pages out of combat now, so I use my healing, so it's back up to 20. Okay. So, what do you think I should buy? Any of them?
I mean, if I were to buy one, I would consider the poison. I don't know how much that costs, though. But
6 gold crowns.
That's not so bad.
Great. It could be useful, that poison, couldn't it?
Poison can be useful.
And I could also put it on my arrows. So
Also good.
yeah. All right, yeah. I'm gonna go with the Gourd King's wisdom. Not a phrase that I'll probably say in life very often, but
You
and
never know.
indeed. It depends how many more of these you come on and do. You're always welcome to come on if you see me doing one of these and you want to pop on. Just tell me and I'll send you the link.
All right.
Graveweed concentrate. Okay, graveweed concentrate. All right, so you got one more choice to make for me before you duck out. My options after I've bought this. So that's poison. Okay, so yeah, I think I'll just get the one because I don't want to piss away too much money. My options now are wait for the captain to be served or go and look at the other shops on the street. What shall I do?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
Wait for the captain to be served. So in other words, I've got to wait while the shop, the herbalist prepares his order. It's a massive order, so I could be waiting for some time, or go and check out the other shops on my own while he's getting his order.
I'd be checking the other shops.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd do. All right, I'm going to do that. So, dude, I'm going to let you head over to your Batman stream.
Yeah. Well, I first got to finish the movie again, but yeah, the stream will be in about an hour. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, go and finish the movie again. Once was enough for me.
Yeah.
So, just before you go, where can people find your channel, man? And just shout out your stuff. And in fact, if you want to put me a link in the private chat, I'll post it.
All right.
If you want to type that in the private chat real quick, because the Gourd King does have a channel. It's not just about his favorite flavors of potato chips.
This is true.
He does do other things.
That makes up a very minimal part of my channel, if any at all. But yes, I am the Gourd King. My channel is of that very name. I generally will talk movies. I do video game live streams and the occasional little rant video. I am currently working on a deep dive of the Rings of Power episode 1, which, yeah, you can imagine how much fun that is. And
mate, I so want to do a video on Lord of the Rings because they had a huge impact on my life, and at the time also my health wasn't very good, and it was thought that I wouldn't live to see the definitely not the third film, maybe not the second one, and I swear to you, those films are what kept me alive.
I'm glad to hear that.
I was determined to see the next one, and I was determined to see the next one, and then it was like, oh yeah, and then after that it was like, oh, by the way, you're going to live now, and I was like, oh, okay, good. So thanks, good. Look, thanks, Peter Jackson. Cheers.
Yeah, definitely. And you occasionally will catch me on various other live streams, such as
including this one.
Yeah, this one, and I'll be back on this one on the 23rd.
Yeah, so we're doing a top 5 horror films between 1970 and 1990, and I'm going to clarify now that in case it affects your choices, I'm going to clarify 2 things. One is Salem's Lot is allowed to be on the list because it was also released as a movie, but you can still say Salem's Lot but the full version, because the movie that was released was edited down somewhat, so that's allowed. Also, science fiction films that are firmly in the realm of horror can also be on the list. So The Thing and Alien are probably I don't know about Alien because The Thing, because it's set now, it's set in a world that we know exists. Alien is a bit too heavy on the sci-fi, so I might have to say no on Alien. I think it is a horror film. It was marketed as a horror film, but I feel it's 75% sci-fi.
That's fair enough.
Horror. Whereas The Thing is different because The Thing, you didn't know what you were watching, but it was set now.
Yeah, it's set now, and very much it's basically something just alien to our present world.
Yeah. So I'm going to allow that, but anything that's too much sci-fi or set in the future, we're going to say is not eligible for the list.
All right.
So just to clarify choices there. Yeah, man, I've got a short list, and it's a very, very long short list. Yeah, and Event Horizon was 1992, I believe, that it was released. It was certainly.
Was it that early? I thought that was a little later. That was 97, I think.
Was it? I mean, I remember seeing it.
Yeah, 1997.
Was it 97? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, 2 and 7 looks pretty similar, doesn't it? That's why I probably had 92 in my head. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, Event Horizon wouldn't even if Event Horizon was pre 1990, it wouldn't be allowed because it's set in the future. So, it's got to be.
I actually only recently watched that movie. That was actually really good. I liked that.
It's a good film. I felt it could have been better.
It definitely could have been, but it's. I might be scaling it a little bit based on Paul W.S. Anderson's skill base. You know, his
the trope of it's your worst nightmares all come true. That storyline has been used in so many other films.
Very true.
Including a really naff low budget Roger Corman thing called The Dark Side of the Moon, which was basically a C movie of Event Horizon without the cool sets and special effects, but it's the same story. So I just kind of, you know, I was when I was watching it and it started going that way, I was like, oh, you're not going to do that. We're recreating the worst fears of all our crew members thing, are we? Are we going there? We are, because then that kind of like rules out all of the sort of more alienistic scenarios. And I was hoping that it was going to be more of a dark version of kind of 2010. That was kind of what I was. It didn't quite deliver that ultimately, because I quite like what's the one to do with the Earth? They you know, they go up and they've got to fix the sun.
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the first 45 minutes of Sunshine.
Yeah, it kind of descends into being a slasher movie after that. It kind of feels like maybe a bit of studio interference got in the way of a much more fascinating sci-fi movie. I mean, I still like the movie, but it's
a slasher movie that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, how is it that Mark Strong is still alive and he's this charred person that's going around killing people? How has he lived there in all that time? You know, is he part human, part alien? You know, at least give us a bit more, because it's just like, well, we don't know. Well, you know, we should know because it's a movie, and you know, I don't want to leave the movie with all these unanswered questions unless it's done in a really cool way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done like that, so it was a bit like. Anyway, I better let you go and watch the rest of your rubbish film. So, guys, just give the Gourd King a shout out. I see a couple of you have already subscribed to his channel, a couple of my regulars. So there you go, mate. You got a couple of subs out of this already.
Awesome, y'all.
I'm also equally willing to whore myself out to your channel at any time. My rates are very reasonable.
Awesome, great.
Yeah, so just let me know if there's anything where you think I can contribute something either useful or just merely my presence being silly will be sufficient. I can be in serious or silly mode. You just need to let me know in advance which version of me you require, and I'll do my best.
Will do.
All right, thanks a lot, man. I'll take you out. I'll see you soon.
All right, see y'all later. Bye, everyone.
That was the Gourd King. What a great guy. Love him. He's awesome. All right, I'm going to continue this on my Todd, but give me a second, guys, because I'm just going to have to dash to the bathroom real quick. Well, I don't know about Kingdoms of Terror, but that was certainly the piss of peril. Right, okay. So I'm back, and I'm going to try and complete this because this is part 3, and I'm supposed to be doing book 7 in the week, I think on Wednesday. which is Castle of Death. What a great... yeah, a goblin did actually attack me, RK, and a goblin did actually attack me in the toilet, but it only had endurance of 10, combat skill of 5, and I just used my can of Domestos, the Deadly, and I killed it in a single strike. As David Macy pointed out, blimey, that was quick. I know, I did a piss of peril and killed a toilet goblin. So, all surreal fun on the Outcast Creative channel. Right, okay. So, you agree to meet the captain in the apothecary in 1 hour's time before beginning your explanation of Luen. So, further along the street, you notice a dusty shop window full of weapons. D'Amico's weapon shop, or weapons bought and sold. Well, I've got some weapons to sell, actually. So if you choose to enter the second-hand weapon shop, turn to 98. If you want to continue along the street, go to 275. So I'm going to mark 275 because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it in a sec. So we'll take that and put that there. Let's go into the shop, which is 98. Okay, so the smell of dusty metal wafts in your face as you enter the cluttered weapon shop, and all manner of arms are stacked in racks that rise precariously to the ceiling. Their prices are chalked on a pillar slate that hangs from above the counter. Okay, so they've got axes, spears, arrows. Oh, they've got arrows, 2 for 1 gold crown. Oh, well, I will take those. Thank you very much. So that's going to give me 6 in my quiver, and I'll pack an extra one in my backpack, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I have arrow times 1 sticking out the top of my backpack. Not sure if you can do that, but I'm going to say you can, at least with a couple. Oh, I can buy a large quiver which holds up to 12 arrows. Well, let's do that. That's better, isn't it? So I'll get a large quiver which costs 5 gold crowns. So I've already got 7 arrows, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend another 2 gold crowns to get another 4 more arrows, which brings my total up to 11. That's great. That's fine. Great. So that means I've spent 8 gold crowns, so I'm down to 12, 15. I'm down to 15. Now I want to see if I can sell some stuff, because I've got a couple of things that I could sell. I've got a studded jeweled mace. I also have a quarterstaff, which I thought I was going to need, but I really don't think. The shop owner will also buy any weapons that you may already have for 1 gold crown less shown on the table. So quarterstaves are worth 3. So I'm going to get 2 for that. So I'm going to sell him that. So I'll get 2 back. So that gives me 17. Okay. The maces are worth 4 gold crowns, but my mace is a special studded one with a +2 thing. I'm not going to sell it for that cheap. Okay, all right. So I'll just sell the quarterstaff. Have I got any other things I can sell? Let me have a quick look. I'm not going to sell my shield. I'm not going to sell my helmet, nor my waistcoat. I got rid of my broadsword ages ago. I've just got my summer sword and my bow. So okay, no. All right then. So we're gonna keep going. So we're gonna go 275. At the end of the street, you stop to peer in the window of a tall, half-timbered shop. It contains a fascinating selection of maps and charts, which details the many cities and the regions of Magnamund. Well, that sounds useful, doesn't it now? You enter the shop and browse the shelves that line its creamy pastured walls. 3 maps in particular attract your interest. The first is a map of Summerland. The second is a map of Takaro. The third is a map of Luen. These maps are all backpack items. If you wish to buy one or more of them, you must add them to your special items. The cartographer will reduce the price of a map by 1 gold crown if you wish to give him any maps you are currently carrying in return. To continue, go to 231. Well, I'll tell you what I am going to get. I'm going to buy a map of Takaro because that's where I'm going to go. I don't really think I need a map of Summerland because I'm already from Summerland and I kind of know Summerland. So I don't think I'm going to need that. So I've got a brass whistle in my special items, which is a maximum of 12. But I really don't think I'm going to need. Now, isn't it going to be funny if we go to... we get into Takaro and I get to a section that says, do you have a... do you have a brass whistle? David, I don't have any maps of old adventures on me. I've had a couple, but I don't think I've currently got them because every time I'm at the end of the adventure, I'll drop stuff off back at the ranch, as it were, and leave things, back at the monastery, So, yeah. Anyway, actually, funny enough, let me just copy that. I'm going to move that. Make sure that that's clear, that that's down here. Back at the monastery. Paste. There we go. Dagger of Vashna. Okay. All right. Okay. So, so the map of Takaro is 4 gold crowns. I've got 17, so that puts me at 13. Okay. 13. All right. We shouldn't be talking to brass. They are ladies of the night. Thought about rewriting these books as novellas. Well, they're already they're coming out in paperback. Oh, I see what you mean. You mean as like fantasy novels. There were a load that were done for the Lone Wolf series. I never read any of them because I read a lot of fantasy books when I was a kid. I read the Dragonlance series. I read a lot of David Eddings. I read the Rift War stuff. I read the original Dragonlance trilogy, which came out before the D&D modules came out before the books. Dragonlance was a Dungeons and Dragons adventure series written specifically to include dragons in it because a lot of the adventures didn't have any dragons. For a game of Dungeons and Dragons, it was, not a lot of dragons. And I ran the entire campaign, which was Dragonlance 1 through 12. And that was the last D&D campaign I ever played. I've never played it since. Right, so at the end of the street... Oh, no, I've already done that. Right, 231. Okay, so we're going to 231 now. We're going to continue on our way. Definitely this section of the this book, I did another book, right? I did book 4 and I completed it in a single sitting in a couple of hours. This book I've done 3 sessions. Okay, right. So I reconnect with the captain. I carry his purchases, help him carry his purchases. He's bought enough purchants and medicaments to fill 2 large wooden boxes. As you stagger from the apothecary, he tells you that he's anxious to return to the boat without delay. His crew are good soldiers but poor sailors. He fears that without his watchful eye and stern hand, they will forget their work and drink themselves into a blind stupor. Yet his fears prove unfounded when at length you arrive back at the quay to find the Kazana has fitted out and ready to sail. Cast off, booms the captain. Hang on, let me do that voice again. Cast off, booms the captain, enjoying the novelty of the new riverboat command. We'll make Rem by nightfall. The captain is as good as his word. As dusk is beginning to settle upon the shimmering waters of the storm, you sail into the horseshoe-shaped harbour of Rem. Okay, where's Rem then? Didn't know we were going to Rem. I wanted to go to Takaro. Oh, I see. Ren is the next big town. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So we're in Ren. So turn to 124. 124. 124. The city is choked with people, mercenaries from the north and west, weapon merchants from the east, and ragged refugees from the war-torn south. So we are basically heading into a war down in this region here. If I can move this, I can move this up a bit. There we go. Just zoom in a little bit. So we're on this bend in the river here, I'm guessing. Okay. The captain orders his crew to sleep aboard the Kazanara this night, forbidding them to go ashore, for the Prince Balan of Ryoma and his mercenary knights are encamped inside the city walls. A bitter and long-standing rivalry exists between the two companies, and wisely the captain wishes to avoid any confrontation. Okay. Do you know what? I do remember those Marvel books. They were a bit shy. They were like massive. There weren't a lot of options. There was only like, but you know, they were for younger kids really. Anyway, let me continue. Rumor has it that a number of the Stormland's most powerful princes are gathered in Rem to plot the defeat of the Slovians. However, the captain believes it's more likely that the robber barons are conspiring against each other to steal the riches of Takaro for themselves. You set sail at first light, bidding farewell to the slender twin towers of the Rem Cathedral, which overshadow the city quayside. The storm flows south through steep-sided fields of vines and arranged in endless rows like waves of green sea. The weather is pleasantly warm. You spend the day on deck watching the traffic of refugees heading north along the highway. You take interest in the strange gigantic toads, the sloats, which are employed pulling riverboats and barges upstream. That does sound odd. Gigantic toads. Fancy having a toad dragging your riverboat? Never heard of those, says Desert Phoenix. He doesn't mean the toads. Arcade, they were made in, I want to say, sort of 88, 89. I mean, they I had one of them. They were all right, but they were aimed at a younger crowd. There were some D&D ones as well, and they were rubbish. They didn't really have the D&D ones didn't really have a combat system. You just chose some different directions in the book. It's more like a book with, you could go different directions occasionally. Okay. It was late afternoon when you sight the town of Ula in the distance. You saddle your horse and check your equipment as the Kazanera bursts at the town's wooden pier. If you purchased a river boat ticket for the riverboat at Soren, turn to 59. I did purchase a ticket. You sense that the time has come to decide whether to stay with the captain or leave his company and ride to Takara alone. Now that's a big decision, guys. So I can stay with a group of armed men who are planning to, because the city's under siege. I don't know whether they're planning to raise the siege or whether they're going to take part in it. Or do I decide to travel to Takaro alone? What do you think, chat? What should I do? Takaro alone or join the captain and his mercenaries? Let me know what you think. I had a huge glass of wine earlier, so I'm trying to balance out the alcohol before I go to bed. Okay, come on, chat. I know you're in a lag. David Macy's saying go on alone. Okay, have we got any other votes for go on alone, or do people think go with the mercenaries? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Alone. I haven't got any super chats, Josh, I don't think. Oh, have I? Oh, I do. Sorry, you gave me one. Sorry, mate. I completely missed that. I do apologise. I have been keeping an eye on the chat. There's a super chat from Josh. So I say this. I'm not going to be able to say this all the time, but I say this every super chat I get, regardless of how much it is. I know when I pay for a super chat, I don't have a lot of money right now, and actually, it's a luxury to pay for a super chat, and I never assume people have money to pay for these sorts of things. So, regardless of how much money you spend on a super chat for me, I just want to say thank you very much. My favourite film of the year so far, slim pickings indeed. There's not a lot of choices. I enjoyed Mission Impossible. Favourite movie? Not sure about that. I've only seen 3 movies at the cinema this year. Oppenheimer, which I thought was a great film, but definitely not my favourite. Oppenheimer. Mission Impossible, and I saw one other at the beginning of the year, and I can't even remember what that was. I did enjoy Extraction 2. Extraction 2 was a lot of fun. Desert Phoenix, you still have the first 20 books. You should send me a photograph of that, mate. Nah, don't worry about that, Josh. I appreciate, $2 still money. All helps. Let me just see. I'm going to answer this question now because I do want to answer it. Because I'm a massive film guy. Film releases 2023 thus far. I quite enjoyed the Luther film, but best film, no. Boston Strangler was good. A Good Person was not a bad movie. I'll tell you what my favorite movie is so far. It's probably a toss-up between Blood and Gold and I would say Blood and Gold and the other one. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it now. This always happens. It's late at night. It's a single word. The one about the Norwegian guy going around killing the Germans. So Blood and Gold and that came out within a week of each other. I saw them both. They're quite different, but they've got a lot of similarities, and I really enjoyed them both. So Waterloo, Keith, is going to be good. The guy who did the military, Paul Biddis, who's a military advisor who's done loads of big movies, he did all the Napoleonic battle stuff on that. There's an interview with him on my channel. Go and look up industry interviews and look up Paul Biddis. And he had just done Napoleon, and he said he was doing a big movie, but he couldn't talk about it because of NDAs. But he did 1917. So, I did enjoy The Sound of Freedom, but not. I'm going to say Sisu. I think Sisu is my favorite film so far. That's to answer the super chat. I know we're getting sidetracked. Sorry, Desert Phoenix. So we'll push on. Okay. So yeah, we're at that. Do we go alone? So I think that we had a couple of votes for alone. RK says alone. Keithy says alone. Desert Phoenix says alone. David Macy says alone. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to go alone then, I guess. I have a feeling I'm going to see the captain again. Right, guys, I have a picture to show you. Let's get this up. This is the picture, and I think this is the road to Takaro. So this is the picture. Let me read out the description. The town of Ula has been transformed into a huge army encampment, its people having long since fled to the north, abandoning their homes and livestock to the gold-hungry mercenaries. Soldiers from dozens of different nations rub shoulders with fighters of Drodarin and even evil origin, united by their common greed. As you watch the endless columns of troops marching towards the power of the black smoke arising in the south, your heart begins to sink. The city in which the Lawstone can be found, Takaro, is a city under siege. I already knew that. It's also a fortified city, one that can withstand the onslaught of 10,000 soldiers. As you ride across the soot-blackened fields towards the siege works and entrenchments lining the banks of the River Qual, you curse this futile war that is threatening to defeat your vital quest. Turn to 280. Okay, 280. I'm curious to see what happens if you go with the soldiers, so I might go back and revisit that, but not tonight. You ride along a muddy path that runs the length of a ridge overlooking a great stone bridge. High stone walls and a fortified gatehouse rise steeply from the riverbank, and the only access to the city is across the great bridge. You stare at the battlements of Takaro with a growing sense of despair. They're bristling with archers and cauldrons of molten lead. There's burnt-out hulks of siege towers and bodies of dead soldiers lying in strewn heaps before the battered city gate. Sounds a bit like the gate of Minas Tirith, Lord of the Rings. If it was not for this accursed war, you could be in the crypt in less than an hour. Before you, the path dips steeply towards a line of tents that have been erected behind a wall of earth and logs. They overflow with the wounded from countless assaults made across the bridge. If you have the Magna Chi discipline of curing, you may go and help the wounded by turning to 42. If you don't have this or decide not to use it. Well, I have healing, which I can use on myself. Oh, that reminds me. My endurance is now back up to normal. Because I have, it's back up to 26 for sure. Okay, all right, so I'm about to sneeze. Oh, it's gone. No, it hasn't. There we go. Oh, dear. Hay fever. Right. So the path ends at the point of the River Storn and Qual converging in a V-shaped bank. I think we should get this. We should get this thing back up. Oh, I see where we are. I do see. Yeah. Okay, let's get this back on the screen. I like getting these maps photographed because then I can like zoom in, and so we are here. See where this breaks into a V shape, and this is the stone bridge they're talking about. There's got to be another way into the city. Ogren military engineers. Ogren, aren't they from like Doctor Who? And carpenters are busy at work constructing pontoons for floating bridges. These look like enclosed rowing boats, and they're destined to be used to cross the river further downstream. Starting out across the water, you notice a dark shadow on the opposite bank. It looks like the entrance to a small cave located at the base of a city wall. After concentrating upon it for a few moments, you're able to make out a dull crisscross of metal bars. It's not a cave, but a sewer outfall. If you wish to ask the blue-skinned Ogrons what they know about the sewer outfall, turn to 133. If you want to attempt to take one of the pontoons and row it across the river, if you decide to swim the river. Okay, so I can talk to the Ogrons. I can just nick a pontoon, which they're probably not going to be too happy about. Or I can swim across the river. Now, my instinct is I'm going to chat to these guys because I think if I just go and nick one of their boats, they're not going to be very happy. I think if I try and swim the river, it's going to be difficult. It's a big river. You're looking at a hellhole, says the Ogren. When the siege began, Prince Urin sent 10 humans in there to find out where it leads. You know what, mate? They never came back. And then he sent 10 Ogrins in. And we ain't seen hide nor hair of them since. Another Ogrin, who's splitting a log with his bare hands, overhears the conversation. We heard noises in the hellhole late at night. Right horrible noises. You know what I mean. If you wish to ask the Ogrins if you can use one of their pontoons to row across to the hellhole, go to 179. If you decide to swim across the river. So I'm committing going this way, despite the evilness that you know, the book's not giving me a lot of choice here. Now, I guess the other way to have got in would have been with the soldiers. Yeah, I do voices for all the characters, Josh. That's part of the joy of coming on the stream, is I do voices for all the characters. King of the North. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's. I think I'll ask them if I can borrow I don't fancy getting wet, so 179. Let's see what they say. They will not let you touch any of their pontoons. If any should go missing, They will each receive 100 lashes. Well, that doesn't sound very nice, does it? So I guess I'm going for a swim then, by the sounds of things. Sounds like I'm going for a swim. 171. The water is freezing cold. It saps your strength, and you find it becomes increasingly harder to swim. After great exertion, eventually you reach the rocky bank and stagger ashore near the sewer outfall. Unless you have the magnified discipline of Nexus, you lose 2 endurance points, and then because of the effects of the cold water. Right. Okay, so my endurance is now at 24. But I can heal. So I think I will. 249. So I'm going to 249. Tell you what, this adventure is a bit of a mission, isn't it? Because don't forget, this is part 3 of this. I only did a short session yesterday because I'd already done 2 streams that day. There's a gaping hole in the crisscross bars, large enough for you to pass through with ease. Well, that's rather handy, isn't it? The fetid water that is combed by this grill contains all manner of filth, a veritable feast for rats and vermin. However, as you wade deeper into the tunnel, you gradually come to realise that the sewer is empty of rats. Now, that is not a good sign. I'm just going to say now, there's something big and mean and horrible in here. In fact, it's totally devoid of all signs of life. Circular chutes appear at regular intervals in the tiled ceiling. Circular chutes. But they're far too narrow and slippery to climb. Oh, okay, so like ventilation ducts. Combined with the eerie glow unexpectedly emitted by Sinead's silver key, you've now entered Takaro. The faint light that they convey nonetheless helps you find your way. 15 minutes after entering the sewer, you approach a major junction where 2 channels flow into the main course. If you have to have the map of Takaro, which I do because I bought the map, remember, turn to 235. And the options, by the way, are straight ahead, turn left, or turn right. So let's go 235, see what the map says. In the dim light of the sewer, you can only just discern the outlines of the curtain wall and the streets of Takaro on your map. The cathedral is located in the centre of the city, approximately half a mile from where the 2 rivers meet and due east of the point which you had entered. You fold the map and put it in your pocket before continuing on to your objective. So I'm going to go 269 now. 269. Okay. 269. 100 yards further along the passage, you see a flight of stone steps. They ascend to a stone trapdoor, which is set flush into the ceiling. If you choose to investigate the trapdoor, go to 107. If you decide to ignore it and continue along the sewer, turn to 120. What do we think, people? Do we think I should investigate the trapdoor? Or should I just continue along the sewer? Now, I think the trapdoor is not going to lead to the cathedral, because if it was, it would say so. But I guess that's a way of me going above ground if I want to do that. And then if I want to stay in the sewer, that's the other option. I think there's something to be said for getting out the sewer. I don't see anybody in chat. Trapdoor, get out the sewer, it stinks, says David Macy. Yeah, I'm thinking the same. Also, lots of people came over here and kind of disappeared, didn't they? And I have a feeling that they may have disappeared in the sewer and been eaten by something. Stay away from the trapdoor because there's something down here. No, the trapdoor goes up. So, okay, so the trapdoor is leading to the surface, I believe, because it's at the top of a staircase. So I think it's leading out. I think we're going to go for the trapdoor. The trapdoor is heavy and stiff, but gradually its seal of rust cracks and loosens under the pressure. Inch by inch, you force it to open to reveal at last, a cobblestone city square. Okay, so I'm out. I see. Yes. Across the square, directly ahead, is the Cathedral of Takaro. Aha, my objective is in sight, people. The square is teeming with guards, and you are forced to close the hatch quickly to avoid being detected. You estimate that the cathedral is approximately 200 yards due east. As you descend the steps and continue through the passage, you pray this sewer will give you access to the cathedral's crypt. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, okay. So the square is teeming with guards. So I'm forced to close the hatch quickly. Right, okay. So what I've done is I've opened a little trapdoor, had a look out. There's the cathedral, lots of guards about. Shut the little secret door, and now I'm still back in the sewer, but at least I know I'm going the right way. All right, 120. Less than 50 yards along the head of the channel, you see another passage joining the main flow from the right. If you wish to investigate this new passage, turn to 339. Continue on the main course 140. So I can either continue on the main course is towards the cathedral. Yeah, so I guess I'm probably going to go with that. I think so. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Okay. Diligently you press on. Well, I'm always diligent. Diligently you press on, silently counting every step you take along the sewer until you reach a narrow vault. Okay, so I'm getting close to the place. An iron ladder. Oh, it's a little over 150 yards from the previous junction. An iron ladder, its rungs pitted with rust, rises out of the water to an arched stone door. Beneath the door, the sewer continues away in the darkness. If you wish to climb the ladder and investigate the arched door, turn to 259. If you decide to continue along the passage, go 339. I think probably I should go for the arched door. By the way, 7 people watching. There's been 10 sometimes. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it because it's always helpful getting the watch hours up and that kind of thing. If I'm just on in the background like a radio show while you're doing the washing and cleaning your underpants, that is absolutely fine. But if you want to participate, that's also fine too. Don't forget to check out the other stuff on the channel. And I'll just remind everybody I'm interviewing Debbie Evans tomorrow. So you will want to check that out, 9 o'clock UK time. The door is old and decayed. It's not been open for more than a century. If you are to find out what lies beyond, you'll first have to clear the dirt that jams its hinges. If you have the Magna Chi discipline of Nexus or Psi Surge, turn to 186. I do. I have Psi Surge. So I guess I can kind of use a psionic blast to blow open the door. You concentrate, then cracks appear and the dirt begins to loose and crumble. Turn to 200. Okay. Slowly the old stone door creaks open. As the dust settles, you find yourself staring in the forbidden crypt of Takaro Cathedral. So shit, I'm at the location of the Law Stone. Potentially. Stepping into the chill stale air, your heart begins to pound loudly in your chest. The Law Stone is here. I can feel it. Can I indeed? Beams of ashen moonlight filter into the crypt, illuminating a line of somber granite tombs that rest here like sleeping giants under the earth. Clutching the glowing Sinead silver key, you examine one by one for the lock that keeps secure the legendary Law Stone. At length you find and lock insert the key. but you are suddenly distracted by a creature that is advancing upon you through the sewer door. I have a feeling this is going to be like a big mutant frog thing. Oh, cheers for that, Josh. Thanks very much. Yeah, we're on Facebook. That's a good way of getting hold of me if you have any questions about any of my books, novels, that kind of thing. I've got several books available on Amazon, including one about my first trip to the States, which is based on my diary of that year. Go and check it out. It's called 1988. It's on Amazon.com as well. You'll find it pretty funny. A huge lumbering monster stalks towards you. It's over 10 feet high with thick, twisted, hairy limbs, large fingers, tipped with razor-sharp talons. Baleful, monstrous eyes protrude from yellow slits. Its hideous and peculiar gibbering fills the moonlit crypt as it draws nearer and nearer. If you have a bow and wish to use it, turn to 209. I do have a bow, and I am going to use it. So let's see if we can damage it a bit before we have to fight it. 209. Trembling with fear. Do I fuck? I tweak the nose of terror. I'm not trembling with fear. Trembling with fear. What a load of nonsense. We're going to get the combat screen up because I think we're going to need it in a second. So let's get that ready. Here we go. I tweak the nose of terror. There's no such thing as trembling with fear. How dare you? So trembling with fear. With a nervous twitch, I'm going to say, you draw the bowstring and fire. The arrow glances off the creature's armored head and shatters to the matchwood against the crypt wall. There is no time for a second shot. Hastily, you discard your bow and prepare for combat. What was the point of giving me that option? That's a bit nonsense, isn't it? Well, okay, so I've lost an arrow. So I'm down to... Where's my quiver gone? Got that big quiver now, didn't I? Large quiver. I'm down to 10 arrows. So down to 10. Okay. 10 arrows. Right. 344. 344. The hideous creature gurgles with anger as it springs forward and attacks. It's a Dakamid. Combat skill of 20, endurance of 50. The beast is immune to Psi, Surge, and Mind Blast. If you play the veteran mode, you may use some. I've got the Summer Sword. If you reduce its endurance to 25 or less, do not continue the combat, but turn to 310. Okay, so this thing's got combat skill of 25 and endurance of 50, guys. So I'm actually going to write this down because I'm going to need to keep track of this as we do the combat here. So it's got endurance of 50. Now, my endurance is back to 26 because I had several passages of no combat. I've got this thing I can use called the Aletha Berries, which gives me +2 combat for 2 rounds and then +1 for the remaining rounds. So I'm going to eat my Aletha Berries very quickly. I'm just going to chuck those in the mouth. That's going to give me a +2 bonus, which is going to take my combat rating up to 32, which gives me a difference of +7 instead of +5, which, trust me, is going to help. Now, I've only got +7 for the first 2 rounds. He has got endurance. So I'm just going to list this here. Enemy endurance. I think this is going to be the main bad guy, so I'm probably going to complete this pretty soon. 50. Okay, here we go. All right, so first combat round, guys. Here we go. On a difference of +7. 6. I take, damage-wise, I take 1 point of damage and he takes 12. So he is down to 38. I am down to 25. That's not too bad. Second round of combat. Oh, that was nearly a 1, but it was a 9. A 9 on a +7 is 18 points of damage, and I take none. So his endurance is now down to 20. So now we have to do what it said and turn to page 310. Okay, let's see what happens. 310. 310. Crypt is crawling with the severed remains of the monster still writhing blindly forward with its maniacal intent. Spider-like, a severed hand climbs your leg and embeds its talons in your flesh. Lose 2 endurance points. God, how dare it? So I'm down to 23. So it's severed limbs can attack on their own. That's pretty creepy. As you fight to free yourself from its vice-like grip, the torn pieces of the Dagonoth's body gather themselves together for another attack. If you choose to leap forward and strike the creature before it's completely reformed, turn to 323. If you decide to unlock the tomb and retrieve the lore stone, turn to 293. Right, now, this is an important decision because if I get this wrong, one of these could mean death. Now, last time we were doing this, there was this rock thing that emanated evil, and my friend told me not to pick it up, and I didn't, and I died. I mean, I have to say that I think the way to go is to probably try and get the lore stone, which is powerful. So I think it's, I mean, I'd be interested to know what chat says, but I think retrieve the lore stone is the way to go. And then 323 is to continue to fight the giant toad of evil. Now, when I didn't try and get the magical item last time, I died. So I'm going to tell you now, regardless of what the chat says, I'm going to try and get the lore stone, okay? Keith is saying kick the crap out of it. David is saying I agree with Lance. Okay, right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you my choice is to go and get the lore stone. Shall we see what happens if you go and do the other one for fun? Okay, so this is the one I'm not choosing. RK is, yeah, I'm getting the stone. But this is the one I'm not choosing. The Damocoid shudders and reels back as your weapon makes impact. It sinks deep into the flesh and clings like jelly and reeks of a charnel smell that closes your throat. A drop of its watery blood splashes on your arm. Swiftly, it eats through your tunic and sears your skin. Your weapon rapidly disintegrates, corroded by the acidic blood. Before you can pull away, a razor-sharp talon ensnares your cloak and draws you to your doom. Tragically, your life and your quest end here in the crypt of the Takaro Cathedral. So, Keith, your decision would have killed me. All right, so, but I'm not doing that one. I knew it. I knew if you didn't get the lore stone, you would die because that's what happened before. Right, so I've gone for the other option. As the door creaks open, a sun-like radiance pours out from the tomb and floods the crypt with golden light. Its searing intensity paralyzes the Damocoid. You grasp the lore stone and your senses reel with newfound wisdom and strength. Wow. Normally have to, take recreationals to have that kind of experience. Instinctively, you raise your weapon and strike the monster at the base of its hideous skull. It gives out one last loud, plaintive shriek before its unnatural life is extinguished forever. Turn to 350, and I think that's the end, guys, because 350 is always at the end. Right, I've got a picture of this thing. I'm gonna show you what this. This is it. So I assume that's me whacking its skull. I mean, I don't know what a Damocoid is. It's like a mutant frog of some kind. And if you looked on the creature on the front of the original book, So there's a different interpretation of it there. So that's what I've just killed. Yeah, Keith, lucky I didn't go with that option, eh? You know what I've realised at the end of these adventures is there's always like a choice that you get, and if you pick the wrong one, you're gonna die no matter what. So no, I didn't. I did not say whacking it. I said I was going to get the Law Stone. Thank you. Your part. Oh, hang on. Before your disbelieving eyes, the Damacoid's skin starts to ripple as if a wave is washing beneath its skin. Suddenly, a crisscross of wrinkles appear, and layers of transparent bone peel off and fall away from its shell-like skull. Its body becomes hunched, shrieking and folding by the second, until all that's left is a film of dust on the floor of the crypt. Well, hey. As the golden light begins to fade, you stare with fascination at the object of your quest, the Law Stone of Veretta. I'm quite surprised that there's not a picture of said Law Stone in the book. You know, kind of, we've done all these things. We killed a big frog, you know. Where's the pic of the Law Stone? I don't know. However, all that you're now holding in your hand is a hollow sphere of a multifaceted crystal, empty and transparent. Your quest has succeeded, for the power of the Law Stone has been absorbed into your body and mind. Oh, okay. So it's a kind of sort of transplant thing. Okay, its strength and wisdom has now become part of your innate being. Very good. To your amazement, the location of the second crystal orb forms slowly in your mind, as well as the absolute certainty there are even more Law Stones left in Magnamund. Aha, so this is not the only Law Stone. A bit like those stones in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, there's more. This remarkable transfusion signals the beginning of a new and deadly challenge on your quest for the Magna Kai. Yet be warned. The Magna Kai quest will draw you into a sinister place where malicious and terrible evil has grown in power since the time when Sun Eagle first completed the quest. If you possess the courage of a true Kai Master, the challenge and quest awaits you in Book 7, the Lone Wolf series entitled The Castle of Death. Well, the Castle of Death is the... So, guys, we've completed it. I survived. No cheating. Castle of Death is the next one. It's here. I have the original too. So this is the cover of the Castle of Death. This is the original of the Castle of Death. As we can see, there's David Macy in one of his roles on the cover there. So I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to start playing that book on Wednesday. I think I'm probably going to go a bit later than I think I'm down to do that at 9. But I'll tell you what, because my core audience for this, despite it being a British series of books, seems to be my American buddies and friends, which is great. I really do appreciate the support, everybody. So I might do this. I might do the stream a little bit later. Currently, it is scheduled for Lone Wolf Book 7, 9 o'clock. I'm going to bump that up to 11. So it's going to start half an hour earlier than this stream started, but 2 hours later than originally scheduled. Now, look, I have got a live stream tomorrow. It's going to be a long one because it's the interview with Debbie Evans. Look her up, stunt woman on IMDb. She's been in everything, nearly all of the Fast and Furious films. She did all the bike work for the Matrix movies. In fact, I've got a great still of her in Matrix 2 and 3. So if you want to check that out quickly, let's do a quick share screen of that. She is on tomorrow at 9:00 p.m. So that is Debbie Evans. That's Debbie Evans doing The Matrix. So do come on, ask her questions. Check out her credits, guys, on IMDb's. She has been on absolutely everything. This is going to be a major achievement for my channel, getting her on. I hope it's going to lead to even bigger guests. I'm trying to get a really big guest at the minute. So do come and support me on that one. Do share the stream. So that's going to be at 9:00. So I'm going to do Lone Wolf at 11 on Wednesday, as long as I'm not too tired. But if I'm a bit knackered, I might go a bit earlier. Okay. So I know that Desert Phoenix always likes to take part in these things. I know Keith always likes to pop on. And by the way, guys, those of you that are regulars here, thank you, RK. I really do appreciate your support on my channel. This channel means an awful lot to me because I went through a very, very rough time in my life before I decided to do this YouTube thing. You know, big. I don't want to get into all the personal shit and do a kind of leave Britney alone type stream, but let's just say it was very heavy and big relationship breakup. I had a couple of work projects fall through. I lost a lot of money. I got scammed and I lost even more money. So I can't tell you what actually doing this means to me. Means a great deal to me, the work I do on this channel. I am really trying to have fun, and obviously these Lone Wolf streams are part of just having fun. But with the more educational stuff, with the industry interviews, and also just the reviews and things, I'm trying to talk about stuff on a level which I think is useful and helpful for people. The stuff that I review tends to be things, I tend to focus on things I like. I mean, if there's something I'm really looking forward to and it's a massive disappointment, I may well go on and do a stream about why I don't like it. But there are a lot of people that do those kind of critiques, great critiques, on YouTube, and I'm not looking to just be another one of those. So the focus of a lot of my streams are on interviewing people that have worked in the industry, so you can find out what their jobs have been like. You can hear some of the stories from behind the scenes. For example, if you guys haven't watched the interview with David McGiffert, who was the first AD on all 3 Back to the Future films, his interview is one of the best I've ever done. It's absolutely fantastic. You've got Danny Webb from Alien 3. You've got Jason Fleming from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. You know, I've got some budding authors. I've got other actors and indie filmmakers, as well as people in other jobs. I'm even trying to find a caterer to interview at the moment, because believe it or not, the caterer is the most important person on a film set, because I can tell you now, whether your film is low budget or big budget, if your catering department is not functioning properly and not providing your film with good food, your film ain't going to happen. Jason Sulkey from the TV series Sharp, he also did an interview. Thank you, David, for reminding me. He's an absolutely lovely diamond of a man, and definitely check out his interview. These are all under industry interviews. You've also got Will Johnson, who had his head locked off on House of the Dragon. He did a fantastic interview. He was here in the studio with me. He came to my house. So there's lots of great stuff on the industry interviews. Do go and check them out. And I'm going to be doing 4 or 5 streams a week. You know, I'm going to be doing loads and loads and loads of stuff. My target, it might be an unrealistic target, guys and girls and everyone in between, but my target for Christmas, or I would say New Year's Day of 2024, is to reach 5,000 subs. So I'm determined to get 5,000 subs by then. YouTube is something I'm taking pretty seriously. I don't do lots of editing with my channel because, one, I can't afford an edit suite. I know that sounds really lame, but is true. I have got the free version of DaVinci Resolve. The second reason why I don't do a lot of editing is probably because most people don't know is that I've got brain damage in my head. If you can see this scar on my thumb here, there you go. See that? See that weird kind of? Can you see that weird indent in my thumb? That all happened at the same time, and I had a massive blood clot in my brain the size of a golf ball, and I've got a big scar there, and my short-term memory is actually really poor. So even if you've watched these lone wolf streams, you'll see that at times I actually forget the number that I've just picked, and I get into a bit of a panic and I can't find it. So that's why I like having co-hosts on, because they tend to remind me. So my ability to concentrate for long periods and my ability to remember things like people's names and stuff like that is actually really quite hard for me, and I have to concentrate really hard to remember stuff. So unless I'm editing every single day, whenever I go back to use that edit suite, it's like I'm having to learn it for the first time all over again, because I've forgotten everything that I did before. And before I had this accident, by the way, I used to use the original version of Premiere Pro, the one that came out, the very first one. So I had no problem editing at all. But retaining information is really hard for me. So that's one of the reasons why there's not a lot of edited videos on my channel. It's not that I don't want to do them. I do, but I have to keep everything really simple. So I tend to do gut reactions and just come on and talk about stuff live. You know, but I am kind of tweaking everything and getting nicer graphics and intros and all of that stuff. So this channel is going to be as slick and as professional as I can make it. It won't be as slick and as professional as some other people, because whenever I want anything extensive doing, I have to depend on third parties or friends to help me. And when you can't pay people money, you don't want to ask for too many favors, because I think you know, I don't like to take advantage of my friends' generosity too often, and I also like to make sure I can give them something in return, whether that's helping them with a script or giving them an acting coaching session. So the other two things that I do, by the way, for those people who are regulars here, and we've got a few of you watching right now, is that I'm an acting coach. I've booked several people jobs on Law and Order, the American TV cop show. So people come to me with scenes. You know, they get an audition for something and they book me, and I go through the scene with them. I break it all down. And I rehearse the scene with them until they get the best take possible. So that's one of my main kind of other sources of income. The other thing I do is I do script editing and I do script appraisals. I've actually done a script appraisal for David Macy, which I did at a very reasonable price, and I think he found it was very useful. And to hear, by the way, David, you're now planning your week around my shows, is can I just say that's a massive compliment, man, that you would plan your time around when I'm on here waffling about all kinds of nonsense. But I have worked full time in the industry, both film and theatre, since 1997. So I've got a wealth of knowledge and experience of advice that I can impart. And also when I watch a film or a TV show, I see it through a slightly different lens, which is either a producer's lens, a director's lens, or a writer's lens, and sometimes all three. I can turn all of that off, by the way, but I quite like dissecting things from those viewpoints, because I quite like to know the reasons behind choices, creative choices. Anyway, so just giving you guys a bit more of an overview of me and where I've come from, why I suddenly decided to go full out on this channel. And because 2021 was really the year that like everything changed for me. And you know, divorce and all of this kind of thing. I don't have any kids, so I don't have that sort of commitment to worry about. So, which is why I'm going to be able to give more time to this to this endeavor than perhaps some other people can that are starting channels and things. My friend Copa Catania has just had a baby, for example. But I will be doing, as I said, 4 or 5 of these a week. I'm going to keep doing Lone Wolf until I've done the whole lot. I'm already buying backup choose your own adventure books of a different ilk to get those lined up. I have got more industry interviews lined up. If you work in the industry yourself and you know somebody in a particular position on a film set, or indeed in a theatre production, like for example a theatre stage manager, or a head of makeup department, someone who's done costume design, these are all people that I want to interview, because I want to when I've got to 100 interviews, I want to have interviewed every person in a key position on a film set or as part of a stage production, so that if you're about to do your own independent film one day, you can go and you can look at the interview of the caterer and you can listen to how they budget to feed a film and what it costs and what food they think people should have and what kind of selection. All of that stuff is actually really important for a film production. Focus puller, riggers, all of that kind of thing. DOPs. I've got 3 DOPs that I'm still waiting for them. They've all agreed to come on. I'm just waiting for them to give me dates when they can make it and when I can make it. And I'm trying to get I always try to get the interviews around 8 or 9 o'clock now, so that that's good for American audiences as well. But don't forget, they stay up on the channel. You can watch them whenever you want. So I think that's it from me for tonight. Sorry if I've waffled on a bit there. I just thought there's a core of people that have stuck with me all the way through the stream tonight. So I thought I'd open up a little bit and tell you about things. David Macy's a boom op. Yep, absolutely. I'd like to chat to a boom op for sure. So I'm back here tomorrow, 9 o'clock UK time. I'm back on Wednesday with Castle of Death. I've got I'll tell you what else we've got. We've got top 5 horror films lined up. I'm doing a gut reaction to Special Ops Lioness in a couple of weeks. We're doing top 3 Michael Mann films on August the 29th. I'm doing that with Matthew Holmes, the Australian film director. Me and him and the Inside Man are also doing Judge Dredd and Dredd, and we're comparing and talking about those two films. And then on August 23rd, which is next week, we are doing the top 5 horror films from 1970 to 1990. And that's going to be like the Burt Reynolds top 5 that we did. You guys can all take part. You can vote for your own. We'll score those points with our own points, and then we can see what the ultimate top 5 list is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and make a lot of the stuff on my channel as interactive as I can. And then obviously if I start going into big numbers, well, look, I'm going to remember the people that were here at the beginning. What I'll be doing is then I'll be doing membership streams. So you'll get a regular membership stream and you'll get the same level of interaction from me that you're going to get now. And if those of you that are regulars, if you're in a similar financial situation to myself and you can't afford a membership, don't worry, one will be gifted to you. I will remember the names of all the people that were here in the beginning. Trust me on that. That's one thing I am good at remembering, is names of people who've helped me out. And besides, to remember them, all I need to do is go back and look at the stream and look at the chat. So it's all good. All right. Okay, guys, that's it. So I am going to get off now. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's been great having 8 people here the whole time, 10 some of the other time. Don't forget what I always say. If you've got a friend that you haven't given them a call in a while, give them a ring and just check that they're all right. And I'll speak to you again real soon.